Good morning. Well, this is certainly a different Sunday morning experience for us. And that is that we've always been live, at least live streamed directly from our sanctuary. So this is unprecedented for us. And we're used to having, of course, our whole service with our meditation and our prayers and our musical bookends on each end of our lesson. So this is going to be something different in offering a Sunday morning message. If you are on our e-newsletter, then you'll receive your Sunday morning bulletin. As usual, you should have received it at 7 a.m. And it will also contain the announcements and the things that we have happening, since we won't be doing any of that today either. What I would like to do is I'd like to begin with a moment of prayer. And I want to invite you to find wherever you are, to check into that sacred space within, to feel the power of that divine presence that is within you, guiding you always. And let us go into that sacred space and feel the power of this prayer right here together, to know that we are always connected. We say thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for the power of your presence right here and now. That is that interconnection, that movement of spirit that is active in each one of us. We feel the power of your presence moving in and through and as each and every individual in this ministry, every parent and every child, every individual that serves in so many ways. And we feel the power of your divine life escalating our health and our wholeness, and reminding us, no matter what experience we're having, that we are one with this infinite source, that we feel the power of your presence moving through and revitalizing ourselves, that every part of us is joining together to unify in this one field of unity. That wherever we may be, we feel the power of this unity consciousness in our own being and in our lives. The unity of way of life that simplifies, clarifies, and uplifts is alive in us as a way of life that reminds us of truth and wholeness. And we bring forth the brilliance of that divine Christ consciousness, that Christ light, that divine essence, that one presence, no matter what name we give it. We know that there is this one power and presence alive in us right here. Just breathe that in for a moment. We recognize wherever we are only a breath away from the truth of our being, from the remembrance that we are one. And we feel the power of that oneness moving through, unifying, uniting us, helping us to know we cannot be separate no matter what the appearance in a given moment. And we breathe life into our lungs. We feel the breath of life breathing us powerfully. And we are grateful, grateful, grateful for all the ways that we serve and all the ways that we come together, all the ways that we feel the power of this presence in us. Let's just take a moment in the silence, in the silence, in the silence. Thank you, sweet, sweet Spirit, for bringing forth your revelations and your wisdom and your guidance in each and every life, that we may know the truth that we are one with you, and we may feel set free to feel and live from your presence in the midst of our everyday lives. And in this and all things, we are so filled with gratitude as we feel gratitude for the reset for our ministry, for the healing and wholeness of every person that is connected with our ministry, that has a thought towards it, that is a part of our community. We feel each and everyone uplifted right now. And we are grateful for their health, for their wholeness, for the movement through that allows us to then rise anew and come together next Sunday in person. We are grateful for this community, for our spiritual life, for our physical, mental, and emotional life, and we feel all of those uplifted in this moment. And we say thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sweet Spirit, and so it is. Amen. And yes. Well, beloved ones, I have chosen today to talk about surrender into the moment. It seems appropriate with the things that have gone on in our own community and the things that are happening in the world. Certainly, this is a time where there are a lot of different feelings up, no matter where you stand on the different experiences. You have an opportunity to say, what is true for me? And where do I stand? And how do I lean into and live into the truth and surrender into what is, as well as then listen to my guidance, fulfill that which is mine, that is bringing forth the higher good into this world. We all think we know what that is for another, and yet our place is to surrender into the moment of what is ours. What I know is that I don't know what is right for everyone else. I can only speak to my own insights, wisdom, gained experiences, my knowledge. From my experience, I can say what is true for me. There's an old story where the idea of that which was less than truth, the being that is walking through the world representing that false identity or that error consciousness, is walking with her entourage. And her entourage sees her lean down and pick something up. And they say, oh, what is that you've picked up? And isn't that a piece of the truth? And you don't want to touch that. And she said, oh, yes, my friends. I do want to hold this piece of the truth because others will believe it's the whole truth. What we get to learn in this time of surrendering into the moment is that there is truth of a higher absolute nature, and there is that which is a piece of the truth. And as we go through life and the history that we create along the way, we have a piece of the truth here and a piece of the truth here, and new things are revealed, and we have our own way of responding and reacting. Whether it's to an outbreak of COVID, or whether it's to the news of Roe versus Wade being overturned. I'm never going to stand here and politically tell you what to believe or what is right for you. I will invite you to find a place in you where you settle yourself and surrender into what is, so that then you can find the inner inspiration to take the action that is yours. I also don't say, oh, we just pray and that's all we do. You know, there's a lot of things out there about the memes that talk about whether after the Uvalde situation, one more time, let's do more than just pray. Now, this does not undermine the power of prayer. And the power of prayer is that it changes our consciousness to come to a place of harmony and peace, come to a place where we can listen to the voice and the spirit of the divine. And until we surrender into what is, we are in a flow of resistance. We are resisting what is. And when I am resisting something, I am not an open vessel to receive. That same conduit that allows my spirit guides and my guidance to come in, for me to know the truth in my own being, to listen fully. It's the same channel, must be open two different ways, to receive and then to give out. But I cannot fully receive when I am in resistance and I've cut off the channel because of my emotional response. One of the things we teach in unity, and in all spiritual traditions teach the same message ultimately, is that we do not gain spiritual maturity until we come to emotional maturity. And what does that mean? Does that mean we are void of emotions? Of course not. It means we have every emotion, and they may come through us with a strength of emotion in a given moment. But we allow them to have their flow. We see them for what they are, the triggers that have triggered us, the belief systems that have us resisting what is in a given moment, the anger that is moving us forward into action. And these are all allowed. The grief of loss when we lose a loved one, all of these are honored emotions. But there's a difference from when I begin to allow those triggers to decide who I am or how I'm going to be in my response to the world. When I know the truth of myself as a divine being, when I know the truth that the divine is that which is moving this world forward, even when it doesn't appear to be so. Do I have my part to play? Absolutely. And yet, if I believe that there is an infinite source, there is a one presence and one power, there is God in the midst of every circumstance, then my role becomes one to surrender into the idea that God is in the midst of this too. I'm surrendering into this now moment, knowing it is only a snapshot of what is occurring in the world. It is not the whole picture of what is occurring. And that snapshot cannot define the truth of the divine and its impulse and its movement and its benevolence that is always bringing forth higher good into our lives and into the world. Either we know that the universe is for us, or we think that everything's happening to us. When we believe everything is happening to us, we are constantly rocked by the experiences of life around us. And we struggle, that old idea of the candle in the wind, and that anything might snuff me out. Well, if I know I'm an eternal being, that can't happen. It may affect my actual physical life, but I can never be affected at an eternal level, at a spiritual level. Now, I know we're also boots on the ground, hands into the earth and into the world of where we are wanting to make a difference for ourselves and others. So both things are true. It's a both and experience. But I first have to stop the resistance to what is, to receive the guidance of the infinite in me, that I can then take out into the world in another way. How is it that we open up in the midst of our own frustration and anger and wanting it to be anything but what it is? And in the midst of that, I have to first say, all right, I move into a place of acceptance. And from that place of acceptance, do I like it? Not necessarily. I don't have to like it to accept and be in surrender to what is. To be in a place of curiosity, of wondering what in the world is happening now and what's my part to play. Because that's the second phase, is then we identify through the guidance within, through quieting the storm in our own being. And this is why that emotional maturity of being able to say, my emotions do not run me. They do not decide for me truth. They are an experience I am having of energy in motion. What happens to us is when we create resistance by not wanting it to be this and being angry, being all those, when those emotions then come in and we stop the flow of them and we claim them and we hold on to them and we swirl them around and we rile them up even more within us. We add our thoughts, we add more feelings to it, we add all this other energy, then all of a sudden we are a swirl and in these emotions that we have created, this energy in motion. So our ability to surrender into this moment, and if it's the emotions that are coming through, I surrender in and allow them to come through. I allow them to process through in that given moment. And when I allow that, then all of a sudden they can come through. That energy doesn't get stuck and hold me in a place where I cannot perceive a bigger picture. Because at the moment of resistance and my holding on to those experiences, those feelings, I am resisting a bigger potential of what's possible. I'm resisting the ability to hear what is mine then to do, to become inspired by this experience. When those emotions are running amok, I may run amok also. I may go and chase after something and react to something. I'm reactive rather than my choosing a steadied action, a unified action from a place of higher consciousness, from knowing that there is a divine wisdom that is available in the midst of this, and that there's a higher purpose to everything that is occurring in my world. I'm not saying that this idea, this consciousness is easy. Because, everything in us wants to rail and wants to say, but it's supposed to be this way. How could this be? This doesn't seem like what should happen at this point. We have a lot of shoulds on the world. And a part of what we've got to do is to say, all right, I'm willing to let go of those shoulds, and I'm willing to be present right here, right now, like it or not. I can growl, I can rage, I can do whatever I need to do, and then let go and let that energy move, but not take it out and act on it in a way that is in violation of others or their energy fields. When I allow myself to move and deal with the energy, I'm frustrated. When I got COVID, I was certainly not a happy camper about that, of recognizing that I hadn't realized, and that then it is having effects. And the opportunity in that is huge, because the question is, do we take on, and now I feel guilt, or I feel blame, or I feel shame, or I feel all those other kinds of emotions. And the truth is, I have to look at those, experience those, and not let those define what is true here. What is true here is we're in a world that's going through so many shifts and changes. And we have a lot of different circumstances. Are there always ways to look at what is and say, could I have done anything different? What would I have done differently? How can I learn and grow from this circumstance and this situation? But the other kinds of things, the thoughts that create shame, the thoughts that create blame, the thoughts that create anger at it, if I keep those and I allow those to be my reality, then I start to project onto others all those same kinds of energies. That's really not what we're here to do as energetic beings. We're spiritual beings having an energetic and physical experience. And part of that energy are the thoughts that we think. In Unity, our third principle is we create our reality through our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs. So how do I then begin to notice what's there, allow myself to experience it, and then surrender into that's one story, that's one narrative about this. What's another possible narrative? If I were to gain a higher perspective, if I'm not triggered emotionally, then how can I open to a spiritual awareness that there is something in this that is an opportunity to learn, to grow, an opportunity to bring forth higher good for everyone in the midst of what appears opposite of that, right? Because we're in a world that shows up in duality. It shows up with opposition. And so when I step back from that position that I have taken that has me also in opposition to the energies I'm experiencing, to whatever is in the moment, and I surrender into this now, there's a potential for something else to emerge, for an awareness to emerge, for a new understanding, for a new opportunity or situation that couldn't have been perceived previously when I already had my idea of what was supposed to be. And it can't emerge when I'm in the midst of my resistance to what is. So learning to surrender into the moment is truly a very powerful spiritual place that allows me then to calm my nervous system. I calm my nervous system down. I think thoughts of peace and harmony. I allow whatever feelings to come through. If I need to cry, if I need to scream, if I need to rage, but I don't engage others in that. I let that be an experience that moves through me as I surrender into it and then set free those energies so that the true energy of my being, the energy of joy, the energy of life, fulfilling its higher purpose, the energy of something amazing always on the verge of revealing itself, the energy of inspiration that moves me forward with action. All of that is accessible once I have surrendered into the moment and allowed those other experiences to move through. Because then I can open myself to the core of my being, to the spiritual essence that I am, to the wisdom that is contained in my soul, and allow my soul's guidance to know this is all a part of the interplay of life. And my learning to be a master in my spiritual awareness will move me beyond those emotional highs and lows. I no longer get to the point where I am absolutely devastated by the things that happen in the world, because the things of the world are not what define us. It's the things of our soul that define us. And so as a result, we say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sweet spirit, for being a presence in our journey, for being the presence that reminds me to surrender into this moment, to let go thoughts of shame, thoughts of blame, thoughts of anger, and allow whatever experience, but then open and release into the moment where the divine is accessing and moving through you to bring you forward, even whether we understand it or not. Whether we have an understanding at the moment, we may not understand what's going on or why it's going on. But to live into that mystery, to live into that unknown requires I surrender. And from that place, then Spirit brings forth whatever is necessary to move me forward. We all move forward moment by moment by moment, like it or not. You know, we're here as long as we're alive on this planet. We're living in an ever-flowing consciousness. We're living in the movement of energy in our life, in our world. Nothing stays the same. Nothing. Moment by moment by moment, it is not the same. Am I willing to recognize, let me not capture this moment, take that snapshot and make that the only one? We all have snapshots of our childhood, and some of them are great and some of them are not. And we have snapshots of those in our mind, but that one snapshot cannot define us. Neither can this snapshot of a moment in time. And so whatever it is that's in your idea or your thoughts, let it just begin to filter away. Surrender to now. In this now moment, I'm experiencing this. That's all that is. And in the next moment, it'll be something different. And in the next moment, there will be another change. And the world will continue to move us forward. For the divine is always moving us to greater good. We are meant to be in the world, but not of it. I'm not of all of that. I instead am a divine being, a spiritual being. And as a result, I can ride the waves of these experiences with surrender, with grace, with wisdom, with the ability to take directive action from the guidance I receive within. May your prayers, may your every inner movement, every inner awareness begin to guide you in ways that bring peace and harmony into your nervous system, into your physical body, into your thoughts, into your feelings. And from there, we all find that we take on the unity way of life that simplifies and clarifies and uplifts. And from that place, we will be inspiring the world. I know who you are as a divine presence full of life, full of health and wholeness, full of vitality, full of compassion, and here to fulfill a purpose. And so we allow that purpose to move us forward naturally, according to our divine nature. And we do that by surrendering in the moment. God bless you, friends. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. May life treat you with ease and grace, and you treat yourself and the rest of life with ease and grace. Love you. Bye.